All right, and what is up, you guys? Welcome to the Chosen League podcast, where fire sports content is the name of the game. Right here, I have a special guest with me, Coop Jack. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Just getting kind of the work week done so I can enjoy the long weekend ahead.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about the grind.
Yeah.
So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Kyrie Irving situation. Kyrie Irving has decided to return to Brooklyn, and just with this process, it threw me in for a loop. I thought Kyrie was going to LA, but in order for that to happen, he had to do a sign and trade. But he could have opted in and then took a 30 million pay cut, so he would have got 6 million. So, Chris, what is your thoughts on this?
I think the fact that the Lakers were pretty much the only team on the radar meant that 29 other 28 other teams, I'm not including the Nets, but 28 other
Yeah,
teams were like, is he going to play or is he not going to play? I think I don't see the life right now. I don't see the Cleveland Kyrie where he was motivated to win. I mean, there was the Boston Kyrie, but that one was kind of eh. Once
yeah,
it was once he got out of Cleveland, I think it kind of went down. I think there was no motivation. There wasn't anybody in Boston with him, and then Brooklyn kind of was there and not. But then everyone around him, it didn't feel like he was the leader, but it also was the fact that it it doesn't feel it didn't feel right to him. And I can understand, you spent so much time in the game that you lose that love for it, or you lose that fire to want to continue to have to get to a point where you feel like you think you're there but you're not. So I think with Kyrie Irving staying in Brooklyn, I'm thinking he's taking a safe route because he still has that guarantee with the Nets. And I'm not saying that the Nets are contenders because they'll still do really well in the East, but you still have other competition there who's building. You still
yeah,
have
it's true.
competition that's growing. And I think Kyrie has a few more years before I think he's officially like tapped out. But I also think he could give up sooner just because he's making the choice not to play.
Yeah, and I knew a lot of people from what I heard. I feel like some people feel like Kyrie betrayed Kevin Durant. I mean, he showed that he wasn't committed, like you said before. I mean, we've seen it, and I look at it as if he would have left Brooklyn, then yeah, we could say, oh yeah, he betrayed Kevin Durant, left him all by himself. But with Kyrie, it's just man, it's so weird. How how can he just go into free agency and then be like, man, I want all these teams. These are the teams I want to go to. The Lakers, the Knicks, the Mavericks, the Heat, and who's that last team? I forget that last team.
There was a few. I mean, there was the few that were like you said, the Lakers, the Knicks, the Nets still had that option for him. I think it was um, some other. I don't
Because
remember
it's
who
one
else
more
it was.
team. It was
Yeah.
six.
Um, I'd have to look it up, but I wasn't.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you want to go to these teams, But the other thing is you got Jalen Brunson for the Mavs, who they're looking to keep, I guess. And then
Well, the right he the Mavs are still trying to hold him. However, there's a lot of teams out for him. The Knicks
the
gave
Knicks are
up
really gonna get him.
cap space players and have the cap space to potentially offer it to him. I read that earlier. Where is it? It is right.
They were gonna give him a 4 year, $100 million deal.
It was yes. If I can, I just saw it. Right. The New York Knicks have agreed to trade. They traded Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks,
Yeah,
2023 second round pick, and
to the
$6 million
to the
to the
Pistons.
Pistons. The trade allows Knicks to unload $19 million in salary, clearing cap space to try to sign Jalen Brunson. So the goal is to get Brunson, but you gave up at least a decent guard in Burks and a middle of the way center in Noel. But with the Knicks still having not improved, and I don't know where it could go, I don't see why he would go to the Knicks. I just don't see that working because it hasn't worked recently. What makes it going to work now?
And you know Stephen A. Smith was fed up. He said, "I'm not going to a Knicks game."
That's because that was the draft. They gave up. They literally didn't draft anybody, and he gave up on that.
Yeah, that's just crazy. How do you go through a draft and then not draft anybody? Don't you guys want to get better?
Right. And like you said earlier, they said it was widely anticipated that Brunson would go to the Knicks on a 4 year, $100 million deal, which is basically 25 million a year. That's not bad, but I'm just looking at it as the perspective of him, what he were going into with a Julius Randle and that kind of style that they had,
Yeah.
where you go from a playoff team to, I believe, not even close. I could be wrong, but
Well, at
yeah,
least they.
you go from the 11th. You go from, I believe they were the 7th or 6th seed at one point the year before, to this past year as an 11th seed at 37 and 45, not improving. It stinks to see that, but I don't know how much he can improve that team.
I would say, in terms of scoring, Jalen Brunson will bring that to the Knicks because we know RJ Barrett could score, but he's not really that consistent because the Knicks always start off slow. They always start off bad in the first half. Oh
Yeah,
well, no, they start off good in the first half, and then they just go downhill from there.
I think I could see what with him coming on, their record would improve, but not by much. I'm gonna give them. They finished the year 37 and 45. I'm gonna give them that 5 extra wins for next year that I think he'll help. So they'll move up to 42 and 40, at least above 500, but not a major improvement. I give them the benefit of the doubt because they're the Knicks and you want to have faith. It's like keep the faith, but
Yeah.
at the same time you're like that's a stretch for 5. That's a
Oh,
tough sell for 5, and it still wouldn't even, no matter what, it still wouldn't put him in a playoff spot, but at least it'd bring him closer to a 10th seed, maybe even a ninth. They're not a top 6 team. They're a
o-
play-in team if we're being honest.
okay. All right. Let's get back to the Kyrie Irving situation.
Right.
Um. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this video for you guys, and you guys had to see it, or if you haven't, I'm gonna show you anyway. So this is when the trade situation was out, and Kyrie was asked this question.
Do you want to be a Brooklyn Nets still? Pass it to my left.
You see that right there?
That was great. That was great.
Okay, so
Deflect. I'm a deflect to my
yes,
left.
I'm gonna
Stage left.
exit the building. I'm not even here to answer it. So I mean, that's what players do.
It reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I
Yeah,
don't get fined. Like
exactly.
you
I
just
mean,
deflect every question known to mankind. I'm like, all
but
right,
like,
man, you do you.
but like I said before, it's so weird because I really thought he was going to the Lakers. I know that I agree with Skip Bayless when he said that LeBron James is the therapist for Kyrie Irving. But yeah, that is something to look at because we don't know what we were going to get out of Kyrie. I still kept that in mind because he's unpredictable. But now you're back in Brooklyn. What do you expect from Kyrie? I really don't know
I
because
don't. I don't either. It's like we said. It's a tough reading after what we've seen from this past year. I don't know. We've seen him how it affects when he's not in, but we have seen that he can still play when he wants to. It's just he's
he
picking and
gotta
choosing.
play.
I haven't seen players pick and choose like that since probably the Dennis Rodman days or the Ron
Yeah.
Artest days where he basically left and didn't come back for like a full week and a half. I think you had guys who
Well, Rodman took a detour
Rodman took a detour. He
and then
took a
came back.
detour, and then uh, I don't know. I think it will be interesting to see how he does. Granted, you want to see him do well. I'm looking at he. I mean, this past year he played 29 games. That's
There,
not even half
yeah,
of the season. 27,
53% of
29
the time.
games. 29 games. In those 29 games, he averaged 27 points, nearly 6 assists,
And 3
and about
rebounds.
4.5 rebounds a game.
Okay.
Granted, he also had about 2.5 assists per game and 2.8 fouls. But I mean, the numbers are consistent with what he's done with more games, which is surprising, all things considered. He's still averaging his quota.
Yeah.
I think it's whether or not he actually wants to commit and whether or not he actually wants to do that.
And what I look at for Kevin Durant, he has to step up and be the leader. Like he really does.
Did you see that post where um, the thought of him going to Portland to play with Lillard?
I see. Let me put my 2 cents in on that. Okay, that right there, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Scoring wise, rebound wise, because their big three right there is Dame, Durant, and Grant. That's it.
You're you're missing a fourth in Nurkic. Nurkic
Oh
is a
yeah,
good
oh yeah,
ball
yeah.
player.
Nurkic.
You're missing
I'm glad.
Nurkic,
I'm
who's a
glad you
good
brought me
ball
Nurkic.
player. And
Nurkic
I'm
is a
looking
ball.
at this.
That's their
It's
core right there.
27 and 55 with Durant. You're looking at another 20, possibly 25, 20, 25 wins. And you're right. I mean, CJ Ellaby was how he was the leader in assists per game is astonishing. And at least Nurkic was the leader in field goal percentage, but they were not great. And like you said, they did pick up Jeremy Grant. I think that was a great pickup from them. They did draft Shaden Sharp, but that was a lateral move by the Blazers because they're looking to trade him for veteran play.
Yeah.
They want to trade him, and which I think, in all honesty, is probably a good idea because he didn't really play in college.
Mm.
So I'm surprised he got drafted that high as it is.
So one thing I forgot to mention, I want to mention is with that Portland picture that Dame put up on his story,
Mm-hmm.
KD responded back saying, "Yeah, I wouldn't go to that sorry franchise because they never drafted me." So when that came out, I was like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, it would be good to see Kevin Durant and Dame, but in my opinion, the Heat for sure is Kevin Durant because then it takes the pressure off of Jimmy Butler being the primary scorer, and then you have Bam Adebayo.
And
I was gonna,
Euro and Duncan Robinson.
and then
You
Victor
really have
Oladipo, but
and
he's
you have support on that bench that could at least do something,
yeah.
especially with, like you said, it gives Butler a rest because he's working so hard to just try to get 20, 25 points a game. And it's hard when Adebayo is getting out rebounded by, say, Valanciunas or Aiton or Antetokounmpo. When Adebayo is solid big as it is, like you made it to the finals 1 year for a reason. You were dominant. You were consistent. It will be interesting to see what move Kevin Durant plays. He's is he a free agent or no?
No, because
No.
he signed. Remember, he signed a $198 million extension with the Brooklyn Nets ahead of the 2021-2022 season.
That's right. So he has, time to play with. I used this year to kind of see. He still has like a good amount of years left, and I think I don't know. I don't see him finishing his career in Brooklyn because I mean he left OKC to go to Golden State. There's no telling where Durant would go next if he leaves Brooklyn.
I feel like I want to see him win a championship in Brooklyn. They have what they need right now, which was that perimeter defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Joe Harris should be coming back this upcoming season.
Right.
So I feel like they have the pieces to make the playoffs, but they're gonna have to find ways of making it work and going moving forward.
Right.
But Kevin Durant has to be at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
We already know what Kevin Durant wants to do. He wants to win a championship. He needs to have a meeting with the Kyrie Irving and the rest of the guys and be like, "I'm here to win the championship. I need everybody to pull their weight,
Right.
especially Kyrie, because when you look at it, he did leave him high and dry. It's just like, yo, Kyrie, what are you doing? You're committed to winning a championship. This is the commitment you made, and now you leave your best friend out high and dry.
Right.
And I think in business, sometimes it's not best to work with your buddy.
No, it can
I,
get
ju-
conflicting.
I think the best fit for them was to go to the Knicks instead of going to Brooklyn. To be honest, because look at the team the Knicks have now. They made it to the playoffs. Adding Durant and Kyrie, that would have gave them a little edge, a little boost.
I don't know.
But really, it's iffy to me. How many points do you think Kyrie is gonna average this upcoming season? What is his stats?
I mean, if he plays, we looked it up. I mean, normally he averages about 26, 27 a game. If he plays, I think he can still average that easily.
Yeah,
One of his first games back, he averaged what 40, 50, and 50 at one point. He had 40 or 50
yeah.
in
He had some. He had
games.
some games
He had some
where he
games where he
like
was on
40,
fire.
50.
If he had stayed on that track, he would have averaged at least 30. But I say between 25 to 28 points a game, somewhere in there, like his average is. I think he can still. That's if he's committed and still wants to play, and he has to play at least more than half the year.
Yeah, he has to because I seen clutch points put on Instagram. They showed Kyrie like his 2 seasons. No, six. I think he played 6 seasons with the Cavs. They showed all the three teams he played for. So with the Cavs, he didn't miss that much of the season. So it was like what 29%.
20,000. Yeah, it was.
And then they had the Celtics, and it just went up. But then he got to Brooklyn, it was 53%.
It was down.
It just went crazy. So it's just like it's hard, and it's so like I said, it was so weird. He really threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers in his 3 seasons with the Nets from 2019 to 2022. He has played and he started in all of these games. He has played a total of doing the math real quick in my head. 103 games total
Yeah,
to a total to what could be what
two
two
216.
it's 81 games in a year.
That was 82.
240 243 to a
Two.
total of
Okay.
243 games. So he has not even played half
Yeah,
of the what could be all amount of games for the Nets.
and
So
it's like when I said he threw it in for a loop. I know I've been saying it, but really, what really confuse brings in that confusion is that the Nets organization encouraged him to go into free agency,
yeah,
to go into that market and see where he could go. But then looking back at it, they needed to get a signing trade. And guess what?
it didn't happen.
All those teams that Kyrie put on his list, he could do a signing trade.
Yeah,
And so I look back at it, I was like, wow, this man really could have went to the Lakers. All he had to do was opt in. But he was like, I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my guy Kevin Durant, my best friend.
it's that pride. That
Me and
pride.
LeBron, we had our time, but I'm going to win with Kevin Durant, so I want to beat you.
So,
So it was like so that when I say it threw me in for loop, that's what I mean.
yeah,
Because I honestly, Kyrie, I think he's gonna average 26 points, probably 5, 6 assists,
yeah.
and 4 rebounds.
I think he can
That
do that.
that's gonna be my stat line for him.
Yeah, I
Kevin
think
Durant, on the other hand, I don't need to just see you shooting. I need to see OKC Durant where he was dribbling the ball. Like show off some dribbles because we already know you can shoot. Like that's the thing I miss about Kevin Durant. He doesn't dribble anymore. He doesn't go. He doesn't really go to the paint as much. He's always pulling up. That's what Curry does. That's what Dame does. Like I need to see more of Kevin Durant, man.
hey,
Dribble the ball, man.
shoot, man. Shooters shoot.
We already know he's a sniper. We already know he's a sniper.
I mean, it can also be, There's times where you don't want to hurt yourself when driving to the lane, and I get that, but when you're that tall and that athletic, you just got to take that chance.
I don't know, man.
I don't either.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Let's go back to the Achilles
Mm,
because there are a lot of players in the history of of the NBA that had Achilles.
right.
Um, Other than Kevin Durant, uh, Klay Thompson, I believe Kobe probably had one,
He did. He had a few.
and it's a horrible thing because it's like you don't know if you can bounce back or not depending on the injury or the Achilles.
Right.
Man, this is. I'm wondering. I'm itching to see what he's gonna do. Before we end the show, I gotta say it. My man Russell Westbrook, um, he's back out there. Russell Westbrook is coming back to LA. He's gonna be doing his thing, and I look forward to seeing him. So yeah, Westbrook gonna be doing his thing next year, coming
Yeah.
back to the Lakers. And mark my words, Skip Bayless. Mark my words. You are about to see a different Russell Westbrook because you have made him upset. And I'm really with Russell Westbrook on this thing because of your name stands for something. Your name means something.
I'm just tired of
And
Skip Bayless in
I
general.
I am I am too, like, he is so. Why are you always going up at high caliber players like LeBron James and Russell Westbrook?
I
Eh,
lost respect for Skip Bayless years ago when he made the comment, and this is unrelated to basketball, that the comment was that the old Miami Hurricanes team, like the 2000 to 2001 Miami Hurricanes team, remember that squad? Like that was a squad with Vince Wilfork, Kellen Winslow Jr., Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, all of them from the old Miami
Oh,
squad.
whoa.
And he said that that was not the best college football team of all time. And I said, "What are
Y'all
you?"
forget about Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor was a
Sean
dangerous.
Taylor was supposed to
He
be
used to
the
hit.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he
He was a
used to
Hall
hit.
of Famer. That man, at
He
like
did a lot of great
Willis,
things on
and
the
then
field.
Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, all
Oh
those
yeah,
guys, Reggie Wayne,
Ray Lewis.
Santana Moss, all those guys. And he said that that was not the best college football team of all time.
A lot of greats came from that team. So
Yeah, but
that's
just Skip
crazy.
Bayless. Skip Bayless just does. He goes more. I feel like his is more with feelings and not with facts. And there's going to be a line that he crosses where he can't come back from. And I think one of the
He already
he
crossed it with
crossed it
Russell
with this.
Westbrook
He crossed it with this one
because yeah. Go ahead.
because Russell Westbrook has proven time and again that he can play. You look at one season compared to a career, and you think, oh well, he's not as good. I'm like, can you do it? Can you play? I wouldn't go talking to somebody about it if you can't do it yourself.
And Russell Westbrook came out. He said, "Yo, watch your mouth if you can't say it to my face."
Like those are
And
fighting words.
and the thing about Russell Westbrook, I y'all can hate him regardless. I'm always in full support of Russell Westbrook, whether he wins or whether he loses. I'm still gonna have Russell Westbrook's back regardless. I just think that with if you look at players who make an impact without winning rings versus players who do win rings, Russell Westbrook has made impact off the court and on the court. On the court, he's made an impact with his style of play, the way he plays the game. He only plays one way. Every player has their own style. Let's not get it twisted. Like even with Amon Shumford, I watched his interview with on Vlad TV. He literally said like why are people getting like all worked up because Russ hit a shot on the side of the glass. Like, how many players have you seen do that before?
None.
They've done it before. And my thing is, Russell Westbrook had one bad year, one bad year. Why? And really, honestly, it didn't feel like a bad year to me. I mean, yeah, he had his games where he didn't really get to be Russ. That's the only thing I'm taking from him. He really didn't get to be Russ last season
Right.
because you got LeBron playing the point. You got two ball dominant guys, and like what Amon Shumpert said, you got to set up like those broken plays. That's in Russ's arsenal. Like the thing about LeBron is he has to control the pace. He has to, Russ likes to run and gun. He likes to run, and you got to look at the fact that how Mon Shumpert said you got to look over your shoulder. Like, where's Russell Westbrook? He already in front of you because he's running.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't realize, by Russell Westbrook getting an early start, that creates fast break opportunities for your team. And he's a nightmare when he's in speed, when he's in that speedster mode, man. Like, look what he did to Rudy Gobert. And his shooting percentage from three wasn't as bad. It really wasn't bad that this year coming up,
Yeah.
And his turnover ratio. Everybody says, "Oh, everybody wants to put on Westbrook and all that." I'm like, LeBron scored 50-some points and y'all lost. But y'all talking about, oh, he scored 50 points. I said when time came when Russ, not Russ, when LeBron had more turnovers than Russ, nobody said a word.
Right.
But Skip Bayless, I mean, he comes with the fact, a little bit of the facts, like when he puts it in, like he's always talking about the bad performances from the player instead of looking at their impact of the game and what they've been doing year
Yeah.
long. A lot, in my opinion, if Russell Westbrook is a slasher at heart, like his primary skill is a slasher, but he's also a playmaker. If you don't believe me, go look at who he played with. Look at when he played with Kevin Durant. Look at when he played with Steven Adams. Look at the way he played with AD his first year, throwing lobs. Same he did with Steven Adams. They
Mm-hmm.
said Russell Westbrook was a selfish player when he was in OKC. They say he doesn't pass the ball, so he started passing
Right.
the ball. They say he couldn't rebound, so he started doing all three things. He put all three in full effect, and that's how he started getting those triple doubles. That's how he started
Right.
averaging those triple doubles.
Mm-hmm.
3 years straight, nobody's done that other than Westbrook.
Yeah.
So let's just be real. Like, I'm like Skip Bayless, just stop, because really you already woken up Russell Westbrook. He talked about. I remember when he was in the press conference with the Lakers, he talked about you know how he went to a conference, a teacher conference, with to see his son.
Mm-hmm.
His teacher was like his son is so proud of his name. He writes Westbrook all the time. And I was like, yeah, you should be proud of your name. But when you say Westbrook, that's disrespectful. Like, put some respect on his name. It's
Right.
Westbrook. So,
Yeah. But, um, yeah, man, there's just a lot going on. Thanks again. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
yeah.
Sorry if I gotta be like that. Sorry if I got, but
Yeah,
I gotta
we're
go.
gonna close. We're gonna
Yeah.
close out. We're gonna close out. Wait, yeah, that's all for today, y'all. Make sure you guys go check out Hoop Jack. His link is in the description. He puts out some great content. If you haven't seen it, go check it out now, man. Anyways, I'm Devin, and I'm signing off.